Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 23 of Multiblock Madness. Today I would like to just dive right into our quests, get as much done as we can. So we last left off having made the alloy or the frames for the alloy smelter, or the chassis here, and the soulbinder. I think I'll hold off on the soulbinder part until we actually need to do the aura stuff. Or whatever else requires the soulbinder. But if we get our alloy smelter online, we can work towards mana dust, which eventually gets us to environmental tech. All right, so anyways, the alloy smelter itself is standard recipe. There is still the enhanced one, but to make the enhanced one, we need the enhanced frame, which requires us to be able to have, at least some Ender IO machines already. So a basic alloy smelter it is. This is just on dark steel, right? Doesn't look that bad. And it's done. I'm kind of curious how much energy it uses. Let's an interface to go with it as well. I suspect its energy usage has been turned way up, but that's actually a bug, right? That just means it processes faster. What is it? And here, we'll put our alloy smelter here. And let's see. So without a capacitor, it does literally nothing. With our good capacitor, 4.5 level, so we can make better than this eventually, but it's 10,000 RF a tick. And when we compare it to the recipes, let's set it in alloys mode. It gets this entire value is effective RF a tick. That is, there's no efficiency loss, as opposed to our induction smelter, which is somewhere. It says it peaks out at like, I can find it, 60,000 RF a tick or something. Well, these machines are all the same. Here we go. It says it peaks out at 30,000 RF a tick, but when you do a recipe like this one that says it's a 40,000 RF recipe, it doesn't take 2 ticks. It takes a lot longer than that, because of that 30,000 RF a tick that it consumes, not all of it is done. Not all of it does work. Whereas with this alloy smelter, all of it does do work, which makes it very efficient. The alloy smelter gates mana infused metal, which I find a little weird. You don't even make it in a alloy smelter, you straight up craft it. We get 2 ingots by using orichalcum instead of inert, so everything else is the same, and may as well do the efficient one, right? Anyways, I guess it's because the ender alloy here, has to be made in exactly an alloy smelter. There is an alternate way to get mana infused, and that is processing the ore that comes from an orchid. And I'm kind of tempted to set up an orchid because, I mean, we have all the mana in the world and nothing to do with it. But we also just got access to the quarry. So let's take a look at the orchid. Does it produce any other? There's the... Which one is this? Is that the... Is that the end one, or is that the nether one? I'm not quite sure. But does this produce rare and exotic ores that we can't get otherwise? Tungsten, so it replaces a quarry in the nether. Besides that, no. Tungsten and mana infused is all we get out. Yeah, let's not make the orchid. Let's just make mana infused the crafting, right? So these. I wonder what does this... There's a lot of stuff in here. Tungsten. Need an assembler. Thanks. All right, let's not look at that right now. First, I'm just gonna put all the recipes in for this, which really just amounts to we already have this. This just comes from mining. Terra steel we can make, thaumium we have. So just supremium and ender alloy. For what it's worth, I do have a mithril seed that I've looted, which produces mana infused ingots. However, I think I've kind of abused mystical agriculture enough with the short period that greenhouses were out. So we're gonna pretend like I've used up every single mystical agriculture seed now. I'm not gonna use any additional ones. So any ingots from now on I have to legitimately make, or dig up by some other means. Making supremium ingots, it's a whole bunch of relatively slow blast furnace steps. 60 seconds on this one, 30 seconds on this one, but then as we get further down, I guess once you get sufficiently far down, you don't have to continue using the blast furnace. But this is a good as time as any for us to parallelize our blast furnace. So right now we have 1 blast furnace block. However, given one multi-block, we can actually run 4 blast furnaces off of it. They all share heat from the casings. However, the heat from coils is individual. So the one that we fully upgraded is 3200. The rest are only 22, and we need 25. So let's get a set of coils for each. Nichrome is a higher tier one. Canthal, I believe, is a lower tier one. Or maybe it doesn't matter, you just need both. Good news is the hard part of both Canthal and Nichrome is the chrome. So now that I have chrome automated, we can shift. Nope, I guess we have to do Canthal first. Just regular clutch. But yeah, now that we have the chrome automated, these are pretty easy to make. So we have 4 hot blast furnaces now. What I want to do is set up our interface, get one, which will provide, it's the interface to apply to logistics. We don't know what this does. But I wanted to distribute recipes between all 4 of these blast furnaces. I think for ease of access and understanding how the system works, I'm just going to have it pushed into phantom faces. Each of these 4 phantom faces here is linked to one of the blast furnaces in the corresponding quadrant of the multi-block. And that way each of these get the same configuration. So it's input the back, output the top. The phantom faces here are just linked back to the interface to send the final product back using the auto push feature. The reason I don't want to use a buffer chest is because some of these most of the blast furnace recipes even are multi-input. So if I input into a buffer chest, then I have to, make sure the ingot stays with the essence in the right ratios all the way through. Whereas if I directly push into the blast furnaces, applied logistics ensures that everything stays grouped together. So anyways, turn on blocking mode to make it round robin appropriately. So it'll only send, one set of items each at a time. And then just need a couple recipes. So I think these 2 tiers are done in the blast furnace. And lower than that, we do it in, it's probably faster. Yeah, this is a 1-tick operation in our alloy smelter, right? So since it's a 1-tick operation, we may as well do it in our alloy smelter. Now, oopsies, is it same? Yeah, same to the alloys, same recipe. We do need all these essences though. And right now I only have the base essence. Is there an easier way to make this? Doesn't look like it. Right now I only have infernium. So I need to set up a system that will automatically craft the higher tier essences for me. For upcrafting the essences, there's 2 choices of infusion crystal, and realistically speaking, there's only one. The basic one has limited uses. The master one does not. So let's make ourselves a master one. Of this, the celestial crystal is trivial. We already have those. The essences are boss drops. So at least I should have a bunch. Let's double check. Yeah, I have 18 from various wither and dragon kills so far. The astro diamonds looks like a pretty easy, well, we have to make it on the terrestrial plate. We have to change our blocks out a little bit. Perhaps it's easier just to go loot it. In fact, since it comes from so many different sources, we don't have it yet. And lastly, well, not second to lastly, these are trivially easy. You throw magic crystals into mana. So last but not least, we have our emerald crystal clusters. This is done on the exchange tablet, same method as, I forget what we used this for before, the focal lens. So I'll probably do it off camera, but we just have to shoot the laser beam at it a few times. For the astro diamonds, I gave it some thought, and it looks like they are used in at least some quantity late game for infinity catalysts. So why don't we set up something now that just gets them out of the way forever? And for that, I'm thinking instead of crafting them, although it's not like a terribly difficult craft, we'll set up the lunium to generate them. So the lunium is a botania flower that uses a lot of mana to generate all the loot that we see on the dungeon page. Unfortunately, it's only the dungeon page. It doesn't hit, End City, Blacksmith, especially like Nether Fortress. It's just what you see here. So there's a lot of things here. Most of it's not particularly exciting. Let's see. There's like the generating specter coil. I guess that's kind of nice. Besides that, I don't know, we're just gonna run a ludium. So anyways, craft one, and then all it does is when supplied with mana, so let's I think it needs a mana pool next to it. It either summons mobs or it historically produces a dungeon loot. It's changed over time, so I don't exactly remember how it works. There we go. Yeah, so it summons mobs that I think when killed drop special dungeon loot in addition to their normal loot. So there we go. Like we got, you know, a manuscript there. We got nether quartz here. How beautiful. Anyways, it uses a healthy chunk of mana to do so, but we produce more than a healthy chunk of mana. So let's set up a system that will automatically kill these mobs as they get spawned. Come on, die. Pick that up until we're ready for it. And then eventually this will produce our astro diamonds. The odds are not terribly high. It's, what, 1.5% chance? But if you spawn enough mobs, you know, you'll be fine. The actual radius in which the Lunium spawns mobs is actually quite large. I think it's, what do I have here? Like 11 by 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So that's at least about how much room it has, and the mobs that it kills drops blueprints even. Kind of nice. Anyways, now we have to pick all this up, so I'm probably going to do something similar to what we did here, except for item storage, because we have a lot more item types. I'm going to see how much of it goes into a junk storage unit, and then we'll store the rest either in drawers or maybe at any subnet. I'm not sure yet. Looks like the loot's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt because the Ender Isle capacitors, which I adore, I'm very happy that we're getting them, they don't go into junk storage, which means they take up 1 slot each. I guess that means they technically stack if you ever get 2 of the exact same ones. They have floating point numbers in their MBT data. They're never going to stack. But with the exception of that, I think everything else we can just dump into a applied energistics subnet. There's probably less than 64 types. But I need to come up with a solution just specifically for these. I think I'm just going to have like a bunch of chests that are specifically whitelisted only for capacitors or something like that. But anyways, if I want to spawn stuff faster, one of the beauties of using the Lunium is that you can do that. And I guess my spawning cage is a little bit too small based on the fact that spiders are spawning in the walls, but whatever. They suffocate, they die, they drop their loot nonetheless, and everything works out. So eventually this is bound to produce some of those gems for me, right? Astro diamonds? And 1.5%, so sooner or later. With the help of my trusty time bottle, I was able to burn through all the mana. Wait, what happened to my sparks? Why are half of my sparks gone? What the heck? It's the sparks are doing the sparks. They're doing the thing again. Is that a chunk boundary? It's not even a chunk boundary where they disappeared. I mean, they clearly were here because they must have been here long enough to feed their mana into the sparks. Now I'm just upset. Anyways, I'll have to make new ones, I guess. But I use all my mana, in case you couldn't see. Apparently my mana pool is out of range of this last round, but whatever. And the bad news, all of my mana produced two astro diamonds. The drop rate, I believe, is significantly less than the 1.5% advertised. So we're gonna need to come up with something else. We're probably just gonna have to craft them the regular way. The good news is we got a lot of these, including some, you know, there's some blue text in there. Blue text is good. But yeah, we got some good caps. Someday we'll get to the bottom of the mystery of the disappearing sparks. At first I thought maybe it was a errant explosion that destroyed them, although I don't think explosions destroy sparks. But even if that were the case, it, you know, might have destroyed some here. It probably wouldn't have destroyed it in the pattern we saw, and it definitely wouldn't have affected these. So I don't know. Whatever. We're gonna pretend it's not happening until. Oopsie. No, I did need a spark on that. But anyways, I'm going to just craft the other 2 diamonds. So after all that work we put into not crafting the diamonds, we're crafting them anyways. Good news is, if we leave this system here running long enough, it'll produce the diamonds we need for the future. That's what I'm telling myself. Anyways, let's go craft our crystal now. So we did all that work for a single crystal, which means I need this crystal to do all of the crafting for us. Specifically, I need to be able to use it to do all the tiers, not just one. So my plan is most of my, well, basically all of my infernium, I guess not technically all. A lot of it comes from the farm, a little bit of it comes from the mob farm. How much do I have here? If this is a lot, I might use it. Otherwise, I mean, there are 900 blocks here relative to how much in the farm. But my plan is to use the crystal to craft it all the way up to the highest tier and store the highest tier. 14,000. All right, so 14,000, a lot more than 900. I'm gonna ignore those 900, I think, and just take what we grow here and craft it up. So I'm gonna take the blocks specifically, using our crystal, craft it up to prudentium, intermedium, superium, supremium, and from here there's even one more, all the way up to insanium essence, and store our essences in the form of insanium. Then when I need to use lower tier essences, we can on demand take our insanium and craft it down to supremium, superium, yada yada yada, because the down crafting step does not use the crystal, and the crystal has infinite durability for the upcrafting step. We can make it such that one crystal handles all of our essence compacting as we produce it, and then when we consume it, we don't need another crystal for that. So conveniently enough, it's this drawer. This drawer has nothing behind it, so let's put our crafter here, because there are multiple nested steps here that all use the master infusion crystal. High tier RF tools crafter is the perfect tool for the job. So out of the drawer, we filter extract only the infernium. All the crafting steps are here, where they dump their output into the crafter again, and I have it filtered to guarantee that there's a slot for each of the tiers. And then on the final tier, insanium, I have it set to external C. So the C, I don't know exactly what it stands for, but like the crystal stays inside. So we set this to run, and bam, we're off to the races. It's automatically compacting all of our infernium all the way up to insanium, and then we just have to store the insanium somewhere. I'm contemplating whether or not we want to store it as blocks. I guess the question is, do we use it as blocks ever? No, we only use it as dusts, which means I think we can store it as blocks just fine. So we will do that and give it a home right here. There we go. So now when we check our ME system, we should see our 6 blocks of insanium and however much infernium here is very quickly getting compressed. In fact, we had what, like 19,000 or something earlier? It's already mostly been compressed. But yeah, there we have it. Our farm now produces effectively insanium essence. If I need raw infernium, I can just grab it out of that mob farm. And if I need the higher tier essences, we can downcraft on demand from insanium, so that we don't need any more master infusion crystals. With that step done, we can get back to crafting our mana infused ingots. Let's just go for 10 right off the bat. Let's see, uses, so 4 insanium makes 10. It's probably a bit more than that, because yeah, I had some supremium to begin with. All right, I'm down to just hit the go button, let it do its thing. It should be reasonably quick. The alloy smelter steps are probably our slowest, but even then, our alloy smelter is fast. So they're just about finishing up now. Yeah, that was quite quick. Couple seconds per. And no reward. What a disappointment. All right, next up, mana dust is, I guess we have to grind it down. Yeah, we just have to grind it down and then combine it with some other dusts. So of these, that's trivial. I guess it's just the thermal ones I have to come up with a healthy amount of somehow. We can either make these from experience or from the rods, and I'm thinking what I'm going to go do is grab a... Actually, we DML this. Let's set up deep mob learning for thermal matter, because now that we have our, what is this, glowstone ingot, I think it was for, we can make simulation chambers now. An initial deep mob learning setup, I think we'll have 4 simulation chambers and a single loot fabricator. We'll mostly just manually run the loot fabricator for certain resources as we need it. So anyways, I got myself a thermal data model. Unfortunately, I do have to kill one of any of the blitz, whatevers. So I have to find one somewhere. But first, why don't we go back to the shop quest here. I still have my token from when we completed the previous chapter. Never claimed our reward. And I figure, why don't we take this reward here? Oh, would you look at that? I could have gotten 2 frames, whatever. The Ender Dragon data model, because why not? I don't really need anything else, right? So yeah, we'll take, we even get all of these, not just the Ender Dragon data, but we can start running this one because it comes with 1 kill worth of data on it already. Now, in order for it to run, we do need the polymer clay. So I added a recipe for this. Depending on what ingot material you use, it determines like your efficiency. Doesn't really matter because we have infinite of. Spectre is trivially easy to make. It's just an ectoplasm. So I just went with the Spectre recipe because it yields the most. And I can just craft up a whole bunch of this. And we can have I guess I can add an interface here to automatically apply it to these simulation chambers. Thankfully, it only takes 1 kill to level the data model up to basic tier, and then once you get to basic, you can do the rest of the magic in the simulation chamber, which I believe is time in a bottleable. And there we go, we already have pristine matter. So I'm going to take both the pristine and the overworld matter. The overworld matter is mostly just for EXP, although there are some crafting. But drop you off here, and then how's our dragon sim going? Look, we need that in there still. We've got some pristine dragon matter too. All right, anyways, this is what I want for now. We're going to take it, drop it into here, and then we can turn it into our various types of rods. We'll need some of each to make mana dust. With the thermal rods on hand, I think we can make this dust now. Very good. So mana dust is used primarily in the production of, litherite crystals. It's 1 dust per crystal, unless you want to go through the rock hounding stuff, in which case it's 4 dust per crystal. And I think this is a case where I do want to go through these extra steps. However, I'm not exactly sure how we'll do it, but because the mana dust is pretty difficult to make, and we only I suspect we're gonna need a couple hundred litherite before we can start mining it automatically. Oh look, we completed this quest. What does that give us? You're 5 seats. You can sit in our ME system forever. All right. So anyways, once that's done, I can complete the quest. But now we have to do this top side here. So let's go ahead and just set up these 3 advanced rocketry machines first. I think the cutting machine produces one of these can produce our applied energistics parts, I believe. The processors more efficiently. No, it's the assembler that can. It can directly assemble them without having to go through the inscriber steps. And these machines are pretty fast. It says 5 seconds, but that's a base speed, and then their various components can speed them up. Anyways, before I get ahead of myself, let's start by making the machine structure. How expensive are these? Stainless and titanium, or mnemonic? What is mnemonic? It's probably, oh, here it is. Nickel, chrome, yeah, too many bits. We'll go with stainless. So 9 titanium, 18 stainless per, but stainless is basically just iron. I can live with that. Let's start off with an order of, I don't know, 40 of these. I can't do 40 yet. 20. The only thing I'm slightly concerned about is its titanium usage. It's what? Basically 10 ingots each, and I only have another 600 titanium ingots to my name. But we'll deal with running out when we run out. Anyways, I also need a hollow projector. Pretty easy to make. The quest even kindly rewards us with 5 more of these. Alright, so of these machines, I don't really think it matters which ones we build first. I'm actually going to build the lathe in addition to these, because the lathe is our best stick maker. Not plain old sticks, but all these rods, it gets 4 rods per ingot, whereas the metal press only gives 2 rods per ingot. And I wonder, are any of these rods meltable? Probably not. The fact that they can be the fact that they can be 4-to-1 probably means that there's no melting recipe for them. Oh cool, they can even do wires 4-to-1, which makes it way more efficient, right? Normally wires are 2 per ingot, Whereas if I make rods and then make 16 per ingot in the lathe. So yeah, I want a lathe in addition to the 3 machines listed here. What the heck? I spent like 20 minutes looking for that blizz, ended up finding a blizz to kill for the data model. Why? Chase, you have a name? Chase? Chase, why are you here? This is a plains. You're not allowed to spawn here. What are you doing, Chase? Chase, I have to complain about my banking? Chase, why do you have a helmet? Chase, you don't wear helmets. Chase, this is very shady. 20 structures wasn't nearly enough because the assembler itself used like 25 of them. But eventually I was able to just order more, get everything built. So right click each of the controllers to form the multi-blocks, assuming I placed everything correctly. Excellent. And then turn them on. So the machines have a speed value that's determined, you know, I should have done this before I formed the multi-block. That's determined by the motor you put into it. So there's motors and there's coils. I believe coils also contribute to speed. Form you real quick. Well, the coils are at the bottom there. I can't quite make the top tier motors or coils yet. So motors go up to elite, which is 4x speed, but right now I can only do enhance, I believe, which is 2x speed. Should be why this machine is running at 2x, yeah. And then coils go up to iridium, which the numbers aren't stated, but I believe iridium is 2x, and then it's down from there. The next highest tier is titanium. Even though aluminum has a higher metadata value. I'm pretty sure titanium's better than aluminum anyways. But all the bonuses stack multiplicatively, so because the assembling machine here has 2 coils and 2 motors, I think it gets the benefit of all of it, and it makes it a very fast machine. On the other hand, stuff like the cutting machine, the lathe, they only have 1 motor, which means that they only get, you know, 1 chance to be sped up. The end result of all those multi-blocks is that we can make a matter condenser. Just kidding, we cannot make a matter condenser because it needs tungsten steel. All right, so then let's see. The hot tungsten steel is made in a blast furnace. Apparently, we can loot these out of end cities, and then we cool it with gelid cryothium. All right, that's pretty easy. I don't have a dedicated cryothium fluid transposer yet, but I'll put it in my generic setup here. So the recipe here goes 5 ingots and 4 cryothium, because I believe that's the ratio that it works out to. And that'll be hot tungsten. Let's just double check that real quick because I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, 5 ingots is 1 bucket, 4 dusts melts into 1 bucket. And now we should be able to make the matter condenser. Yep, have at it. Didn't take too long either, assuming I looked up my machines correctly. These, where's my cool graphics? Yeah, these advanced Rocketry machines have some pretty neat graphics while they run. Also a basic crystallizer with with the motors I have right now. It's a little on the slow side, but we don't need to run it very often. So first we crystallize it and then we cut it. Like we get to see the little wafer getting cut as it goes over the thing. And then I think we cut it again or something. Oh no, and then it goes into this thing where the little things like stamp it, and then we cut it again. Fancy. So that will produce for us 1 matter condenser. Or you can live right here. Matter condenser mostly is for making, well, it's a couple things. First of all, it can be a trash can. Second of all, it can make matter balls. These are used to like paint your cables or something. But what we want are singularities, and it takes 256 items or 256,000 items or 256,000 buckets of any fluid to make a singularity. So the inefficient way is to stuff it full of items. Look at that, we gave it 64 items. The efficient way is to stick a fluid laser on it and connect that to any of our other fluid lasers. And that makes 1 singularity per tick, because, or even 2 per tick. Or at least that's what it seems like. Because it's able to it's able to dump the entire sink's worth of water in per tick. And a sink has a lot of water in it. It has that many millibuckets of water. And we'll store those singularities into a drawer. I can't imagine we need a huge number of them, but it looks like that is the ultimate gate to the digital miner. These teleportation cores require... Oh, wait. No? Why is digital miner gated behind? Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, there's a singularity in there. And the plastic. Let's we don't need a digital miner right now. If I were to build a digital miner, I'd probably rather use a quarry. So let's set up our rotary condenser. Okay, so this is to turn liquid ethylene, or our gaseous ethylene, into liquid ethylene, so that we can turn it into whatever we do with this. I forget what it's called. Substrate into HDP polyethylene. So yeah, this has to use liquid ethylene. Let's finish setting up then the that half of our current ethylene system. So right now we're stopping at gaseous ethylene to throw into our gas generator, and it's completely full. Good. So now we can take some of this, turn it into liquid, combine it with that, and make HDPE. It's, in the end, it's 3 extra machines. So first we rotary condensate it, pressurized reaction chamber it. No, yeah, okay. Why is this power bar only half full? Oh, because it's using the other half. Fair. And then we enrichment chamber it to turn it lastly into sheets. These sheets will just, am I not auto outputting into a drawer? And then I'll put a storage bus on this drawer in a second. But first, let me fully upgrade my machines with speed and energy upgrades. The process uses less ethylene than it produces, so no matter what we end up doing, we will be positive on ethylene, which is good because the extra ethylene ends up getting burnt. All right, so this is now rather quickly making HDPE sheets. Unfortunately, only the enriching factory here has a factory variant, like the pressurized reaction chamber. I guess the pressurized reaction chamber is the bottleneck, but it doesn't have a factory variant. That's okay. We don't need that much HDPE, I expect. It does also produce oxygen as a byproduct, so it takes oxygen as an input, produces a tiny bit of oxygen as an output. There's no priority extract that I can... So basically, there's no easy way for me to guarantee that this oxygen gets consumed before that oxygen. So all I'm doing is just void accessing this oxygen when and if this tank goes up. But anyways, there's our HDPE sheets all done and ready. So with that, we can make lime plastic. Oh, I need paintballs. So I guess I need both the singularities and the other thing. So if we switch this over to matter balls, we can make a blank ball this way and then dye it with paint or with any color dye. This slime plastic, let's request... Oh, oops, forgot to put the storage bus. 1 second. Let's try that again. So this slime plastic is, now that we have our HDPE, it's basically free. And then it is used as an ingredient in empowering emoratic crystals. So besides that, looks like we have to craft... This is just a trivial alloy smelter job. And this requires another metallurgic infuser with experience of some sort. All right, we have tons of... come on, this one. Solidified experience from our mob farm. The culmination of all our efforts today then will be the empowered emoratic blocks. So make 10 of these. One thing I almost never do, like ever in any mod pack, is automate the atomic reconstructor. I don't know why I hate doing it so much. I think it's not so much that I hate automating the atomic reconstructor. It's that it's just that easy to batch craft it. And guess what? That's more emoratic crystal blocks than I will ever use in all likelihood. And at that point, you know, why bother automating it? But anyways, power some of those for me, please. Pretty please. No. Are you running? I didn't actually test you. Yes, you are, but I forgot to put upgrades in you. And mechanism machines, even when they are factories without upgrades, are not the fastest thing. So take some of these, and suddenly you're running a lot faster. Turns out when it's running at full speed, it cannot consume experience fast enough. That's all right. I don't think we need a ton of those experience ingots anyways, so. There we go. Hurry up. And voila, there's our empowered block. And then next step is to turn it into litherite. So as I mentioned before, we can either 4x yield it or just 1x yield it. And given that the mana dust, I mean, how much litherite do I need? It's 2 per structure frame tier 1. Ooh, the crystal lens uses plain litherite. That's great. So I need 6 right off the bat. I basically need 6, and then like I think it's 24, so about 30. And then I need the void ore miner. I probably want to start off with more than 1 void ore miner though. That takes another 24. So I need like, let's call it like a stack to make 1. All right. If it's only a stack, I'm going to just do it in the assembler, because once we have a tier 1 void ore miner running, it produces litherite, you know, reasonable quantities 11% of the time. So maybe we won't make the crystal pulling crucible. Biggest downside of making it in the crystallizer is that our crystallizer, at least for now, is on the slow side. It's a 1-minute recipe, so even at 1.7, you know, 1.8x speed, it's like what, 35-ish seconds. But that's our first piece, at least. I think my goal for today is to get at least to the point where we have a tier 1 void ore miner running, so that I can leave it running between videos a little while, and have the output of it. So today we're going to go a little bit long. This process ended up having a couple more steps than I expected. So the void ore miner itself has 4,100 bytes. It's not a lot of any single thing. It's just like a lot of different things, which would make it a real pain in the butt to do by hand. But we could hit the go button, let it do its thing. Now, a couple things here are, this is going to take literally forever, so we'll time it about all that. I'd had to add a couple machines too. We had to process BU plating for something in there. I don't know, somewhere in the crafting tree, I think. Oh, right. So these connectors in environmental tech are, first of all, 25,000 RF tech, 30 seconds in the precision assembler, and they use DU plate. They use a lot of weird stuff, but these connectors are used all over the place in environmental tech. 1 per structure panel, 1 per interconnect, 1 per laser core, and I think it's 1 structure panel or 1 interconnect per frame. So we're going to have to here we go, yeah, 1 per structure frame tier 1. So we're going to end up making a whole lot of those, and I think our bottleneck in this entire process is really going to be the speed of our crystallizer. Unfortunately, this the only way I have to speed it up for now is time in a bottle, and thankfully I can go pretty far with the time in a bottle. At some point though, our energy production can't keep up, but I've kicked off the production of the void ore miner itself. So let's also ask for, I think it's, Westbrook tells me exactly, 24 of these. Oh boy. Oh no, don't do this to me. All right then, we're done here for today. I think I tried to push through to the void miner, but there's just a little bit too much to squeeze into one video. So we're gonna have to come up with more titanium or yada yada yada. There's so many things missing here that yeah, we're not gonna be able to jam that into the next couple minutes. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope to see you in the next one. Take care and bye bye.